Hello and welcome back to Bill Rants About. This is my episode two. My first one was about weight loss. I had personally gone on a weight loss journey in the last 2 months, and I got a whole 7 views on that first video. So I am killing it. Um, if you're here, this one is going to be about Cobra Kai. Um, if you grew up in the 80s like I did, in 1984, there was a movie called Karate Kid. Now, I know there's been a remake with Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan in the last 10 years or whatever. But, the true classic was the 1984 movie. It was everything like an 80s movie should be. It's about a kid who moves to a new town, gets bullied, joins the rival. Like he tries to learn karate from the maintenance man in his apartment building, and they go up against this evil, Cobra Kai dojo. Um, and this is kind of like a continuation of that story 30 years later. Now, I'm going to do both seasons because I watched both seasons concurrently. So they kind of run together, and just a little bit of backstory on the series. It does star William Zabka, who, if you don't know who that is, he played a lot of bad guys in the 80s for teen movies. Just offhand, I remember he was in Back to School, Karate Kid, stuff like that. I think he was in European Vacation also, but very small role in that one. But basically, the story centers around him. I think more than Ralph Macchio's character, who was the focal point of the movies. I feel like these two first seasons, have kind of been his story, and we kind of, I'm going to try to lay off spoilers or anything like that, but we do kind of come into the series seeing that he is kind of on hard times. He's been, it's been rough for him since he lost the All Valley karate tournament to Daniel Larusso. So you see that he's kind of stuck in the 80s. Like he hasn't progressed. He looks like he's an alcoholic. A lot of drinking and driving in this series. I'm not sure about the message there, but still, there is a lot of drinking and driving. I guess it's realistic. People do that. He doesn't own a computer. He still watches like old movies on TV, like Iron Eagle and stuff like that, which is a great movie if you've never seen it. But it basically kind of flips the script a little, especially in the first season. I mean, he was a bully in the first movie, and they kind of try to make him more sympathetic, which they did a really good job with. They didn't like neuter him. He's still the same guy. He's still crass. He's drinking. He treats the kids, that are in this show. He treats them terribly at first, and but there's something there. Like you can tell that he has regrets, and basically it starts out with him kind of still not being over what Daniel LaRusso has done to him. And Daniel LaRusso in this show is actually very successful now, and he owns many car dealerships in the area. And he's Johnny is always reminded of how well he's doing and how bad he's doing. So he's seeing commercials on TV and radio ads and billboards, and I mean, the one good thing about this show is that it has a lot of humor, and especially with Johnny's character. Like William Zabka, who really kind of disappeared for almost 3 decades after those 80s movies. I mean, you really haven't seen him, but I mean, he is the star of the show. He's really good in it, and that was a great surprise. Like, there's a lot of humor with him, just not getting today's PC world, which, maybe we are a little too PC nowadays, and he's kind of bringing that to light. You don't really want to be like him, but you understand where he's coming from. Um, so, I mean, the story kind of takes off with there's a young kid who lives in Johnny's apartment building, and he gets bullied. Johnny's sees it, kind of comes to his aid, and the kid comes back to him and wants to learn karate. So it's kind of a flip, It's kind of like Daniel Larusso um, in the first movie. He gets bullied, and he wants Mr. Miyagi, who has passed obviously in real life and in the story. He has passed. So um, he has, you know, this is his journey now. He basically, out of spite, out of just seeing way too many references to Daniel Larusso and his Larusso autos and everything. He even has a run-in with him. Um, he finally has just had it, and he didn't want to train this kid at first, but now he's going to, because he's going to restart the Cobra Kai dojo. Um, the story on this is, like, in my personal opinion, like, I hold those movies kind of dear to me. I was probably 12 years old when the first one came out, and these are, this isn't like master filmmaking, these movies, but they hit a chord, like, when you were younger. It broke my heart to find out that Mr. Miyagi didn't really know karate. When I found out that Pat Morita, who the actor who played him, didn't really know karate. I mean, that was kind of a shock, and I was so disappointed. I remember when I was younger, but I love the way they flip the script on this one, and they make Johnny kind of redeemable in the first few episodes and throughout the whole series. And Ralph Macchio's character, Daniel Larusso, is kind of a douchebag at the beginning. You kind of start rooting for Johnny, and I think that's why the show works so well. Is that I don't care what people think. Everybody, we have a dark society nowadays. Everybody likes to see things dark and stuff like that. But you want to see characters redeem themselves, and it's a struggle for him to. I mean, he is on a path to redemption. You can tell in the show, but he's still kind of keeping to his old self in a lot of ways. But and I think that's why the show works so well, is because the like I said, the script has been flipped, and he is now training this person, and he is trying to do it a different way. But because of the rivalry between the two, things just get in the way. And without giving away any spoilers, there's a lot of things. Johnny has a 16-year-old son who he is really hasn't seen all of his life, so he's trying to repair that image. And Daniel LaRusso has a daughter, and there's a lot of story elements regarding the two groups here. And eventually Daniel LaRusso's character kind of mellows out, isn't quite the douchebag that he used to be. And going from season 1 into 2, he starts getting back into what he was when the movie ended. But I'd have to say that on the whole, that this story, the story so far through 2 seasons, has got me hooked. I'm completely shocked. Like, when I first heard this series was coming out, I remember it was going straight to YouTube, which I was very skeptical of that, very early on skeptical. But I heard some good things. So I remember they offered like a free episode. You could watch the first episode for free. And this was probably 2 years ago. And I remember watching the first episode. And it was actually pretty decent. And I was interested, but I just didn't feel like paying. Like, I think you have to pay for like the YouTube subscription or whatever to do the YouTube television. Now, recently, Netflix has bought the series. And it just recently come out. And it's, I said, well, you know what? I'm going to finish this now. I'm going to go ahead and give it a try. And boy, was I shocked. It's great. I like the little nods to the movie. You're going to see reoccurring characters from the movies that were, they're going to come back. Some major, some minor. There's going to be a lot of references to the music, and, I mean, one of the greatest things about the show is how Johnny is just caught in the 80s. He drives a car from the 80s. He still kind of dresses like the 80s. And both these guys, I'll give them both credit. They're both in their 50s now. I looked up William Zabka, and he's 54 now, but they both look tremendous for being in their 50s. So it's believable too. Like he looks like hell at the beginning, but I mean they both do a really good job, and they're somewhat believable. I mean, obviously you got modern day society. I don't know how relevant karate feuds are now, but this works for me, and I'm very happy. I know there's going to be a third season. The second season ended wonderfully, so I definitely highly recommend this show. I'd probably give it probably a 3.5 out of 5. It's like it's not groundbreaking television. I mean, it's not Breaking Bad or something like that, but the acting is good. The story is surprisingly good. The only thing I would tell you to worry about is, I mean, you don't have to worry about it. It's just that, as me, I'm 48, so when I watch something and I see a bunch of teenagers, sometimes my eyes roll. Sometimes the stuff gets cheesy and it's corny, and you're just like, There's a little bit of that, but for the most part, the younger actors do a good job too. So, I would highly suggest this. And, please give it a chance. It's on Netflix, seasons 1 and 2, and I think season 3 is coming out in 2021. There is a small teaser trailer right now on YouTube where you can watch it. And it looks like it hints towards maybe a story, maybe get some of the story from Karate Kid 2. There might be somebody coming from that movie over. At least that's what I took from the trailer. Um, and that's basically it. As far as my channel, I really would appreciate it if you would hit me a like and give me a subscription. Please subscribe. That would be wonderful. I would love to get a like. I've got 7 right now, so I'm rolling in them. But I just want to crank these out. I'm not editing these at all. I'm doing them in one take. I'm not bothering with it right now. I have a crappy camera. The lighting isn't great. The microphone isn't great. But we're gonna try it. We're gonna keep going, and I'd like to do more reviews like this. So if you like this, like I said, give me a like and a subscribe, and I appreciate you for stopping by.